Real estate is all about creating this consistent form of income.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to do that. One of the biggest ways to do that is exactly what you're talking about, in creating a consistent form of value. The way you do that is by giving value to people and finding people that are willing to and want to spend, but in a smart way. We wanted to talk about, in something that Nick specializes in, we're going to call it the forgotten investor.
You are not going to get rich quick, period. Like, this is a very slow, methodical process that obtaining something that will bring you value in the next 10 to 15 years.
Bigger numbers come with bigger payouts, but the stability as small-time or smaller investors, real estate's always going to give you the better chance of a stabilized, not risk-free, because nothing is risk-free.
Absolutely nothing is risk-free, yeah.
Right, because where does everybody run to when stock market is all over the place?
Real estate.
It's real estate.
Everyone runs to real estate for, that's the one thing that a lot of people don't understand is real estate is always their exit strategy, no matter what.
I mean, real estate is such an incredible vehicle. Regardless of the size of the investment, it's all relative.
Yes, there are a lot of positives, but also there are a lot of negatives.
Welcome to the House of Vesta, the #1 independent real estate team in Illinois. We are a group of characters and would love to welcome you into our home with open arms. If you love a good time and a good real estate story, come through and be part of the conversation. This is your host, Grigory Pekarsky. House of Vesta podcast. I think we're like episode 5 now, which is really exciting. Got girl dad Greg and...
Oh my God, that's too much pressure for me, Greg.
You had one job to go over the name.
I know. I mean, I had a name. You didn't approve it.
It is not family friendly.
I know. I promise I'll come up with a name for the next one.
What are you known for, Nick?
Nicky.
Nicky Nick.
Nicky Nick.
I like that. Okay.
There we go.
Nicky Nick and Girl Dad Greg here on the House of Vesta podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for joining. I'm actually really excited about the topic at hand today. I feel like there are, first off, a lot of people thinking real estate investing right now. And I feel like the immediate push and rush and conversation is always about like, I'm going to buy the 100 to 200 unit apartment building. How do I do that, right? But what we decided was we wanted to talk about, in something that Nick specializes in, we're going to call it the forgotten investor, right? The investors that, listen, at the end of the day, like if you can't buy a $100 million property, you could still buy investment properties at $100,000, $150,000, $120,000. You do 10 of those, you have over $1 million worth of property. 20 of those, you have over $2 million worth of property, right? And that's just the beginning, and then it slowly starts to increase in value. You can collect good, strong rents, because that's one of the best things about the Chicago and Chicagoland market is that the rents are really strong comparatively to the buy. So that is the general topic at hand, but why don't you kind of give a little bit of a background on yourself, Nick, the investment experience that you have, and why you feel like the biggest investor that's forgotten about and not talked about enough is the forgotten investor.
Well, first of all, background in investing, I've been in real estate for about 6 years now.
Yeah.
6 years. I've been a broker for better part of 3 of those 6. And I started like a lot of brokers out there, just friends and family. Mm-hmm. A lot of my friends started reaching out. I mean, actually, most of the friends that I have that invested with me, I started reaching out to them. After I got into real estate, I reached out to a few people and basically with a simple message, be like, hey, how would you feel like buying an investment condo? Most of them never even thought about actually buying an investment property. The majority of the people were, most of my money invested in crypto, mm-hmm. stock market, etc. And I just started doing a little bit of research.
Question for you. Do you think, it's kind of topic at hand, do you think that they didn't think about it because they felt like it was out of reach for them to be a real estate investor? Is that why they never put that into their portfolio or bag of tricks for what they want to invest in?
A few of them, yes.
Okay.
The majority of investors that I have are younger age. I want to say under 35, mm-hmm. and most of them never even thought about it. Not because they weren't exposed to the real estate world as much as they were exposed to stock market, for example, or cryptocurrencies because that was a big rush starting in 2000. When did cryptocurrency start? 2018.
I think it really got popular over the pandemic, but it started getting steam. I feel like 2015 onwards.
2015 and onwards,
like
basically.
mid-2010s,
So
yeah.
the majority of younger people
Right.
being on social media were exposed to that type of investing. More of a quick get rich quick. I don't. Again, I have no. I don't know anything about crypto. I don't know anything about
Sure.
the stock market in general. So I don't want to say it's a get rich quick scheme.
Yeah.
But a lot of people got burned because of it.
Well, like I feel like perceptions with reality, marketing, and what we absorb is what we start to put our assumptions around. Social media is the number one marketing platform, right? Where it's always in front of our face. And crypto just became this thing where you're hearing about these people that were becoming millionaires overnight because Elon Musk tweeted something and then Dogecoin would like
Exactly.
explode over 200 to 300%. Now look at crypto now. It is in like
bad.
we are now in a place where it's like the risks and assumptions of risks and understanding on like how fast and how high it can go quickly is exactly how it could even drop faster than how fast it goes up. It was like a perfect storm to gain the attention of the younger investors that we were talking about.
Well, younger investors in general, yes, and this is the one thing that a lot of people they're willing to take the risk with a higher risk to get a much higher reward.
Yeah.
Which, when it comes to real estate investing, what I started doing with most of my friends who started investing with me is explain the compound effect.
The Warren Buffett style of explanation, yeah.
Basically, just because it's and I start with every person that I have that is coming into my sphere in terms of an investor. I start with that. You're not going to get rich quick. Period. Like, this is a very slow, methodical process that you're obtaining something that will bring you value in the next 10 to 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I have two of my best friends who are actually invested with me. Funny thing, I'm going out with one of them today.
Nice.
They started we had a conversation and they started thinking about their kids. So what they started doing is purchasing 2 condos per kid
Oh, that's cool.
in order for them to, when the kids come of age to go to college, and they have options. They can sell the condo and basically cash out and pay for college.
Mm-hmm.
They can leave the condo when their kid turns 18 or 21, whatever their choice is, and they have some kind of passive income coming into their kid's bank account,
Mm-hmm.
and just leave a property for something. And again, this is not getting rich off of that right away, but again, it's with the compound effect. This will become it will become a great investment in about 10 to 15 years, not right away.
Well,
Also it depends on how much money they have to invest. This is the biggest thing about small time investing, like I'm calling it small time investing, because you only have to come up with $20,000 to $30,000 to invest in something like that. And you know how it is. I mean, you know way better than I do when you're thinking about investing into something much bigger, like a 2 to 4 flat,
Yeah.
or even a commercial building. You have to have a pretty substantial bank account in order to do that.
yes and no. I mean, like, with multi-units, you can buy something for 200,000, right? You can 2 to 300,000.
Yeah.
But like most likely, it's going to need a lot of work. So it's not even about the opportunity to acquire. It's about the cash needed to then stabilize, right?
Yeah.
And so the condos and the properties that you're talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like these 1, maybe 2 bedroom, good location in suburbs,
Yeah.
right? Maybe close to an expressway, so that people that are working downtown or in the city centers have these easy, good size condos that you can still like maybe buy for what, 120, 130,000 and get
Yeah.
$1,500, $1,600 a month in rent.
Mm-hmm.
And they're typically in pretty good shape. I mean, you can find some stuff that's in pretty decent shape.
Yeah.
I mean, even yesterday, I showed a studio in one of the best parts of East Lakeview for $120,000. They're asking, fully like redone. The bathroom, the kitchen is super nice. Can easily get $1,200 a month in rent.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. It's like you are buying in, and we put in a little bit of a lower what they're asking offer. So even if we end around 110, $110,000 in, every month you're getting $1,200 a month, like easily.
Yeah.
That's a pretty substantial and good return. Now the sexiness of it isn't there, right? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, well, I have one studio, but the returns, you got to look at the returns, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like you can buy $100 million building and be operating in the negative. And sure, you have a sexy $100 million looking building, but if the numbers don't make sense, your small studio in East Lakeview is actually operating on a better profitability margin than your $100 million buy. Now, of course, down the road, the investment, the bigger numbers come with bigger payouts, but the stability as small-time or smaller investors, real estate's always going to give you the better chance of a stabilized, not risk-free, because nothing is risk-free,
Absolutely nothing is risk-free. Yeah.
but a very good way to then diversify the volatility and get out of the volatility of a stock market, right? Because where does everybody run to when stock market is all over the place?
Real estate.
It's real estate.
Everyone runs to real
Yeah.
estate for. I mean, that's the one thing that a lot of people don't understand is real estate is always their exit strategy, no matter what. And people just don't want to. People don't want to realize that to a point when they've lost a lot of money already, and this is the problem. A lot of people invest in markets that might bring them. Well, for example, let's say S&P 500. This is a secure investment from what I know from.
At least it was. It's big. It's big down now this year.
Correct, yeah, but we're talking about long term.
Long term, yeah, of course.
Long term,
10, 20 year
S&P
mindset,
500
yeah.
is a safe investment, and it's basically no work. You sit there, you just accumulate money.
Yep. It's a bet on the entire market, essentially.
True.
Well, or a good portion of the entire market.
Correct. Why I believe real estate is better investment than that is because you have multiple exit strategy and you can take cash out of it right away.
That, and also you have multiple ways to make income off of real estate, right? So you have first the appraisal, right? So like increase in value over real estate over a long period of time. That's first. Second is the income potential, right? Where you can get rent. And then third, what a lot of people forget about is the tax incentives,
Correct.
right? If you own property as an investor, as an LLC, you have 100% write-offs when it comes to investments, things like that. So yes, there's the new tax rules and code, like there's a limit for personal tax write-offs. But if you're an investor as an LLC, that's how the rich stay rich, is because they have all of these different LLCs, they have all these individual entities that are writing off all of the income that's coming in through these entities. But hey, like those entities are still a person, right? So it's still the income collectively of the one person, but because you're structured in such a diversified way, you can really start taking the advantages of how the tax rules are written. And by the way, who writes the tax laws? It's rich people.
Correct.
And what do they write it for? Rich people to avoid taxes.
Correct.
So it's a bigger mindset, and I think that you're so smart when it comes to the way that you're bringing value to your friends, right? Because like a lot of people, they don't even think of real estate as an opportunity for them. Like, well, I don't have $200,000 to $300,000. You're like, but do you have 20, right? It's like, and a lot of people still don't have $20,000, right? It's still a lot of money. I totally get that. But if you do, and you're thinking about what should I invest in, right? A condo, like a smaller condo in the suburbs or surrounding, or even a studio in East Lakeview is a pretty great place to put your money. Even if it's like, you don't have to own it forever, but like good chance it's going to increase in value. Good chance you're going to make money in the short term when it comes to like the rents coming in. And good, as long as you can buy right and do the right inspection, it's probably going to be minimal headaches. Now, again, that's where.
Also, don't forget inflation.
Yeah. It's a huge inflation hedge.
This is the big thing. That's real estate is the one thing that inflation can destroy. That's it.
Yeah, yes, there's values that go up and down, but again, when you're talking about the three sources of income, one of those, right, your value might go down a little bit. People still need a rent, right?
Correct.
And if you buy the way that what I love about these types of buys is that you are also, in my opinion, hedged against any large downturn in rental, because like where the first place that gets hit with inflationary issues or whatever with rent is like the higher end rents, right?
Yep.
The $2,500, $3,000 one
Exactly.
bedrooms. That's when people drop down to the $1,800 to $2,000 one bedrooms.
Exactly.
But if you're talking about like $1,500 one bedrooms, $1,200 one bed studios, whatever, in like good locations, they don't really necessarily go much further down than that.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Well, location is very important in this situation. This is why I love the suburbs. Like I love working in Schiller Park, Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, Palatine, Schaumburg. Those are the areas that, in general, the rents are going to stay the same for a small period of time, or they're going to keep increasing. They're not going to drop down. Like look what happened with downtown Chicago with the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
luxury was struggling.
It was.
That was it. And did we see the same with the suburbs? No.
You actually saw a surge in the suburbs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Schiller Park, for example, one of my favorite areas. I can't hype it enough. Is
So what do you like about Schiller Park? Like what like in regards to an area in the suburbs that you like, what is it that you're like, this area is a great place to invest?
because there's always going to be renters there.
Why?
It's a blue collar area. First of all, second of all, it's close to the airport. Third of all, it's close to the airport. Fourth of all, it's close to the airport. This is it. This is one of the biggest airports in the world. You have thousands upon thousands of people working there. Rosemont is right on the north side of Schiller Park, which you have a big entertainment area. You have concert venues.
So you're a good distance close to like entertainment and the things that people like to
You're
go
close
to.
to everything there. You're close to the highway. You're close to entertainment areas. You have like, again, airport is close by. There is a casino there. The whole area in general is expanding so much. People just don't realize it yet. This area will become the new, I want to say, Logan Square.
Yeah?
In no time.
How quick can you get to downtown from Schiller?
Probably it depends. It depends on rush hour.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure, but like average.
Average like 30 minutes.
Okay.
30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah. Oh really?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, this is why I love, I mean, specifically this area. When I moved to Chicago, I used to live there. I used to work there close by. I worked in Rosemont. And again, it's just, you can't miss with that area specifically.
Yeah.
Cheaper condos still.
Mm-hmm. What can you buy for like a one bedroom for?
A one bedroom, you can find a decent one bedroom. You can find for about 110 right now.
110.
Yeah.
Wow.
A decent one bedroom, you can get easy 1,200 a month.
1,200 a month, 110. I mean, think about that. That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yep.
Then when you are thinking about decent, is it like in-unit laundry?
No.
No? What's
You don't-
decent in your mind?
You don't need it in your laundry. Decent for me. Decent is
Yeah, let's talk about what is decent for you.
Okay.
Nicky Nick.
okay. Decent is, first of all, you don't have to do any drywall work, meaning that there's no water damage around.
Okay.
There, depending on the building, of course. Second of all, the floors are in good condition.
Okay.
Third of all, the bathroom needs minor touches. Fourth, I really want to say kitchen. You don't have to change the cabinets in the kitchen. Appliances are kind of given because
Okay.
appliances are not that expensive when
Sure.
you do a remodel.
Sure.
This is decent for me. Like you don't have to go with in your washer dryer, garage parking, and all
Question
that
for
kind
you.
of stuff.
So you have a $110,000 condo in that condition. If you would update it to like a nice condition, what would that typically sell for? What would you say?
I want to say that this might go for about 130.
130.
130 for a one bedroom. Again, right now, two bedrooms are going for about. I'm currently under contract for one place for 133
So for a two bedroom,
for a two bedroom.
think of. I mean, like at the end of the day, you know,
With two parking spots, exteriors included, everything included in the HOA.
which is what are the monthly assessments?
Monthly assessments are $280.
That's wild. What do you mean everything's included? Like heat, air, all that stuff? Cable, internet?
Not cable and
Okay.
internet, of course. I mean,
But heat and air, like the big
well,
stuff.
the big stuff are included. What is never going to be included in it, like I mean, never going to be included in a monthly association. There almost never is electricity, cable, and internet.
Yeah, electricity
But
is
this
never,
is
yeah.
this is all around Chicago. This is not.
Right. But for two bedrooms, 135,000 for two parking spots.
Of course,
Wild.
the place was listed for 149. I mean,
Yeah,
we got it
but
to
you're Nicky
100.
Nick. Like
Yeah.
you're not just some guy that's just gonna come in and be like, we'll take it full price. You come in and you still negotiate and you go in hard.
We bargain, and this is the big thing that I tell all of my investors in general: is be prepared for a lot of rejection.
Yeah.
If you want a good deal, this is why most of my investors buy up to 2 to 3 condos a year with me, not more than that. And we put probably 40 to 50 offers. And this is
Something magical though in the office is, I will say, you guys have to see it, is Nicky Nick negotiating. When you come in and you're just like, you're as kind as it can be when you come in and be, because you're like, listen, listing agent, don't cry, but we're gonna crush you. And here's why. And and you're the nicest guy ever. But the thing is you just keep swinging, and then eventually one of your hooks land.
That's the big thing about. Also, a big part about this type of investing is not trying to insult the other agent.
Sure.
At the end of the day,
because it's nothing personal.
Absolutely nothing personal. Yeah. And I start the majority of my conversations. I actually before we send an offer, I give a courtesy call to the agent.
And Nicky Nick.
And
sweet Nicky Nick.
And I start with, there is nothing personal. How desperate are you, basically? There's nothing personal against the seller or the agent.
What an asshole. You just come in and be like, oh, come here, give me a hug. We're really going to fuck you up.
Because there is... there is a big chance if you operate in those areas that you will meet that person again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, real estate, I always say it's a small community.
Exactly.
It's amazing how reputations quickly, can go around. Everybody knows. It's amazing how quickly a bad reputation goes around. If you're a great broker, like, you're gonna have to work it over a long period of time. Like, good reputation takes a while. But if you're a shit broker, like, those brokers go out of their way to tell their friends and their colleagues, oh, Nicky Nick, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is a big thing about this type of investing, is you do have to keep good personal relationship with the other brokers on the other side.
Well, do you get calls from brokers now, being like, hey, I have something that's coming up, maybe something for your clients?
It happened a few times. There is a broker that I work pretty closely in Mount Prospect.
Yeah.
She's from the Pro Properties.
Okay.
She's giving me hints sometimes where something is off market.
Yeah.
We actually submitted an offer for a townhouse that she had. Cash offer, unfortunately, we got outbid. It got put on the market. But again, I do work with few brokers. They're giving me tips every once in a while.
That's what happens, right? It's like,
it happens. It just takes a little bit more time.
Sure.
To develop those relationships. It takes first of all, you do have to deliver when somebody gives you something like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You do have to have at least 3 to 4 buyers who have the cash in hand to be like, okay, let's go. Mm-hmm. We need to close that pretty quick before it hits the market.
Yeah.
Now, few things that we kind of have to keep an eye for this type of investors is every cent counts, not dollar, cent. Mm-hmm. In this situation. A lot of brokers are neglecting taxes just because they want to close a deal.
What do you mean they're neglecting taxes?
Well, they're neglecting to warn their clients that next year taxes, for example, this is a reassessment year.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
And all of a sudden you're buying a property that will make you $250 a month. Mm-hmm. If you're not buying it cash.
So you mean it's going to increase $250 a month?
I mean, the taxes, for example, one of the properties that we bought a couple of months ago with one of my clients, I warned him when we were doing the calculation of like how much he should expect to make return on investment. I added $300 on top of the taxes, and the tax increased with $305 actually a month.
A month? Well, so did you increase it $300 a month, or did you just increase it overall by $300?
Well, before we bought it, when we were making the calculations, I told him, listen, the taxes are not going to be this.
Yeah.
Like, even we didn't know how much the taxes were going to be increased, but we're kind of ballparking.
Sure.
And I told him, listen, it's a reassessment year. The properties, the value of this property in general in this area will increase by a lot. They increased by 45%.
Holy shit! Since he bought it?
Yeah.
So he's loving you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's still he bought it on an interest rate of 6.75, and he's still making $300 a month from a 2-bedroom condo.
So how long did it take for him to increase the value by 45%? That was like over a year?
2.5 months.
Jesus Christ. I mean, okay, that's not gonna happen every single time.
No.
But that's just an example.
Absolutely
that's an example, right? And that's like let's say you do buy 10 of these over 10 years, right? Mm-hmm. Even if 2 of them do that, mm-hmm. right? Even if 1 of them does that, mm-hmm. right? That's it. You shoot 10 shots, and 10 good shots that are always gonna be solid, consistent, but then maybe 1 of them just pops off. And then it's like, okay, like this is starting to make sense. This is it, right? And a lot, like your competition typically, is it a little bit lower when it comes to these types of condos? Like they sit a little bit longer on the market on average,
Yes,
no?
yes, and no.
Okay.
So, for example, on average, it really depends. You do have to follow the market every single day regarding this type of stuff.
Sure, sure.
Like that's my job because
Right,
I
that is,
do
yeah.
have 10-ish investors right now. They're looking for condos like this, and my job is to provide information. My job is to educate them.
Well, your job is to provide the value. That's what we do,
Yeah.
right? Like your job is like you bring the money. I'll bring you where it's worth to put your money into, right? You're not, if we were just sitting and waiting for new properties to pop up and waiting for them to tell you when they want to go tour it, what's the point of you, right? You're just one of those brokers that I call the door opener. You're a majority of brokers in this business. But the people that succeed and the ones that are the most successful in this business are the ones that provide additional value. That's why people come to us, because we're not sitting with our hands on our asses. We are out there. We're networking with other brokers. We're seeing where some off-market properties are coming in.
Yeah.
Where even when a property does pop up, it comes to us first, and we're like, "Hey, Bob, new property came up. We gotta go." And then it's all about timeliness of getting them in. It's like we gotta get in this afternoon, right?
And you'll also be surprised that I've developed certain relationship with all of my investors, and I educated them enough to show them, hey, this is what this property is worth. This is the area. Like I provided them enough tools for them to realize when they see a good property.
Yeah.
This is the good thing because the majority of them are calling me now and be like, hey, this came on the market. They saw it on Zillow. Let's say 8 o'clock in the morning. I still haven't checked my MLS.
Yeah.
I still haven't done my research for the day. 8 o'clock in the morning, just came on Zillow. Let's go.
But that comes with trust.
Yeah.
That comes with respect for you.
Correct.
That comes with people knowing that you got their interest at heart, right? This is them shooting 58 shots with you, and you telling them 49 times out of 50 being like walk away.
Yeah.
Right.
No, exactly.
It's at the end of the day, yes, we make money by selling property, but we really make a job out of this, an actual secure job by establishing trust with our clients.
Exactly.
And then by doing that, they know that we put their interests ahead of our own, which means that if I don't sell this property, I'm okay with that because it's about the property, the right property that I sell you, not any particular one. I need to sell you the right one.
Correct. I mean, and again, we are with the majority of my investors. We're thinking about way, way ahead of time.
Right.
Most of them, every time I meet a new person, let's say if it's not my friend, I sit down with them for coffee and I ask them a few simple questions. What is the goal? Where do we have to go in order for you to be satisfied with your portfolio? And all of them are leaning towards buildings. This is the future. I would like to own buildings.
Sure, of course, sure.
Now, the easiest way to get to that position is owning condos, and those condos turn into great investments that you can pull cash out of
Yep.
eventually, accumulate that cash, and then put a down payment for the building.
Yeah.
Now, you do have to find those properties. Like I said, 1 out of 50 will be that certain property, like I was telling you about
Yeah,
the one
I mean,
in
it's
Schiller
work.
Park.
It's work.
That currently, right now, if he would like to go to, if he pays it off in a few years, if he comes up to a little bit more cash, pays it off, he can pull a lot more cash out of that.
Yeah.
Even now that he bought it like 3-4 months ago, he can pull out of probably 20 to 30K out
Think
of
about
that
that.
place.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and he got in with 35K.
Yeah, so, the power of real estate. I've bought a house with my wife in 2015, I think it was, and it was in Avondale. We came in at 375. That's how we bought our house. We sold it in 3 years for 500,000. That's how much the Avondale market exploded.
Yeah.
And I started with $15,000 to buy the first house, and then that $15,000 grew to a fully $800,000 20% down payment. Like that's where it grew to. So that I could then that 50,000 grew to 160,000.
Okay.
And now, right, like it's grown to a place where it's even tripled, right? So that's the power of real estate. Is that now that's then that's only one vehicle, right? That's the appreciation of your real estate.
Yeah.
Now, including the rent, I got also the write-offs for taxes. I mean, real estate is such an incredible vehicle, regardless of the size of the investment. It's all relative. every investment is relative to the amount of money you put in, and all the numbers are the same, right? In regards to like return and things like that, it's just smaller. It's not as sexy, but once you have 10 of these, 20 of these, it starts to become pretty sexy.
That's the big point about a lot of people are scared of the risk involved with being a landlord.
That, yeah, we haven't talked about that.
This is a big thing, and this is where I'm brutally honest with people.
Yeah.
Brutally honest.
Tenants suck ass.
If a pipe bursts in at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's your job to fix it or hire someone to fix it.
If you don't have a management company, which management companies take 7% of the monthly rent.
Which none of the initial like small time investors do.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
I don't recommend it. It doesn't make sense.
You're operating almost in the negative.
Correct. So this is where real estate, this is the negative sides of real estate that I really want to talk to. Yes, there are a lot of positives, but also there are a lot of negatives.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like anything that's going to give you a good return or positive return at the end is going to come with its risks and its downsides.
Yeah.
And it's weighing those things.
Yeah.
And to me, one of my biggest challenges of personally getting into real estate investing is I don't want to be a landlord.
Mm-hmm.
I hate being a landlord. Mm-hmm. There's no way to be a good landlord because tenants will always and forever hate you, right? Like you're just going to be a slumlord regardless of if you have 1 unit or 100 units. That's just the way that it is. When you're dealing with people's livelihoods, you're always in the wrong. And Chicago, in general, has really, really strict laws, right? So that's one of the risks is that you're in a tenant-friendly environment. You have to qualify your tenants extremely well. Make sure that they're going to be able to pay the rent. Make sure that these people. There's a lot of con artists out there that are going to come in and create these. We've had a few people like these come in. And it's like these desperate landlords that are in a bad time. The unit comes up, it's like, well, whatever, I'll just rent it. And then all of a sudden, boom, 3 months in, they stop paying the rent, and then it is impossible to kick them out.
Yeah.
So, absolutely, there's risks involved. Now, there's mitigations with that risks, and talking to me or you about those kind of things, right? Like mitigating, making sure that you're protected is a way just to protect your money and your downsides or whatever. But all in all, more millionaires are created out of real estate than any other profession.
That's correct.
Any other industry. And there's something to that, right? But like, a lot of landlords that own, I saw a landlord that owned 2,000 properties yesterday. Like, he didn't look like, King Jaffa, right? Like, he wasn't like riding on his like, esteemed camel
they never do.
Talking to everybody like, this is my kingdom. Like, he just was like talking about like how he is seen as a slumlord, and he looked beat down. But like he was also touring a $12 million building that he's buying, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, bud, like you're good. You're a good king. It's fine.
Well, one of the advantages that I have in terms of providing knowledge for young investors like this is because I've rented hundreds and hundreds of those units. This is how I started in real estate. I used to be a leasing agent.
Yeah, right.
All over the city. Like I did not discriminate, in terms of, it's Schiller Park is too far away.
Yeah.
Palatine. Who's gonna drive for 45 minutes to Palatine?
Me, Nick will.
I was doing that.
Yeah.
Rogers Park, Edgewater, Evanston, South Loop, West Loop, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I was there. I was not discriminating in terms of location. Where do I go? What type of property I'm showing? How expensive is the property? I was there. This is why I keep up with the rent so much.
Yeah.
I can tell on top of my head. I can tell you like how much a 2-bedroom Rogers Park can rent.
Which
how much
is
a
extremely
townhouse.
valuable. That's a huge value piece that you bring in. Is that you can give realistic rental numbers, so that people can really run the numbers behind them to make sure that the investment makes sense.
Yeah, from a townhouse to Palatine to 3-bedroom in Schaumburg to 1-bedroom in Edgewater to studio in Lakeview to
which allows you to really see if something is a good value or not.
Correct. This is why every time I open MLS each morning, I can see if there is a good deal or not.
Right.
And the first thing that I do is like send it to all 10 to 15 people that I know that they will see the value as well because they've already bought properties with me and they're already cash flowing on that.
Yeah.
They already taking.
So now they're like addicted. They're like, I want more.
Well, that's the beauty of it. A lot of real estate agents are looking for the whales to spend $1 million with them. I'm kind of looking to create those whales.
Well, like the way what you're doing, yeah, exactly. You're not just creating those whales, but you also like if you have 15 people consistently buying, you've now created a consistent form of income for yourself, right? So it's like, it's amazing to close $1 million property, once every 4 months, but you're sweating for those other 3 months, right? Or it's like, okay, cool, like I'll close 1 to 2 of these every other week, and it's like, and then when the whale comes, it comes. But you're not so stressed, and that's real estate is all about creating this consistent form of income.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to do that. One of the biggest ways to do that is exactly what you're talking about in creating the consistent form of value. The way you do that is by giving value to people and finding people that are willing to and want to spend, but in a smart way. So, all right, so we're kind of coming up to the end here. If somebody wants to start and they have, let's call it $20,000 to invest, what's the next best 1, 2, 3 steps for them to be able to acquire their first property?
Well, next step is call me.
Call Nicky Nick.
First of all, like, and this
Get some coffee with Nicky Nick.
I mentioned I take every single one of those people for a coffee. We chat for an hour.
Any specific coffee shop that you enjoy?
Starbucks. I'm very basic.
No, but you can like you may
very basic.
But maybe you can start like finding more like there's so many good coffee shops in Chicago. That could be like your shtick. Me with Nicky Nick at Ipsento.
I am not a coffee. How do you call it? What's the exact word?
Snob?
Snob. There you go. I'm not a coffee
I feel like
snob.
you're more of a snob by going to Starbucks than if you went to the other ones. So you are a coffee snob, Nicky Nick.
Okay.
Just something to think about in your value proposition.
This is a good touch, though. This is a good touch. That's very true, though.
Nicky Nick coffee.
Yeah.
All right, go on. That's the first step.
Second step is creating the plan.
Creating the plan. Okay.
What's the goal?
Yep.
Like, would you like to buy 1 each year? Would you like to buy 2? Would you like to buy 3? Would you like to, what is the end goal?
Yes, but like let's just say like this person's like, listen, I don't know, but even if they don't know, I think like just keep it simple. Stupid, right? Kiss. Let's do it. But I'm not calling anybody stupid. It's just it's the best formula to think about because it's like if you're overwhelmed by information, then just figure out the first step, which is just buy your first one. So if you just want to focus on the first one, right? Then you say, okay, cool. I just want to buy the first one. So you got 20K. What will be the next step after having delicious coffee with Nicky Nick?
The next step will be being very patient.
Okay.
Because those deals don't come on the market every day.
Would you say it's a good idea for them to get pre-approved from the start?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, this is out of the question. Like this, we cover that when I go have coffee with them.
Yeah, but you don't want to reveal everything only at coffee. So they're not having coffee with you yet. You got to incentivize them. Come on, come get some coffee with Nicky Nick. So okay. At the conversation,
if we're like kind of
pretend like we're having coffee.
Okay. So we're actually doing the micro steps.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, next step, of course, will be talk to a few lenders.
Okay.
See who's going to give you the best buck for your money.
Okay.
Of course, this is the most important part.
But as an investor, you gotta assume it's going to be for sure 25% down.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you
not necessarily though.
No.
Not necessarily. Like you can be an investor. You can be a first time home buyer investor. Like you can buy your first condo, live there for a little bit, and then.
Well, yeah, but if somebody is like doesn't want to do that, right? If you're strictly investing and you're just strictly
investing, absolutely
25%
25% down. This is given.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Okay. So basically, $30,000. You're looking at about $120,000 purchase.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, about 100 and
So
120, 130K investment. Yeah, and
so have coffee with Nicky Nick. Get the pre-approval. Understand what cap rates are, right? So the returns on your money. So like, talking about do you want 5, 6, 7% returns, and obviously the higher return, the longer you're going to probably have to wait to find the right property.
Correct.
If you're going to, eventually, if somebody sells you 30% return, you're like,
correct.
But like I think that's just out of this question.
Next step is you checking your email about what I'm sending you.
Yeah. So then it's like then it like the faucet turns on. You're looking
exactly. It's a waiting game at this point.
And also, I think what really good for them to wrap their head around is what locations they would be willing to go to. Because if they're going to be managing these properties from the beginning and something goes wrong, either they're going to have to get a good relationship with somebody that works out there that is a good handy person, or they're going to have to do it themselves. So making sure, like location-wise, that it is like, let's call it 25, 30 minutes from their home or where they're at. And I think that is a good 1, 2, 3 step of like what they can expect. But most importantly is go with coffee to Nicky Nick and not Starbucks. And if he tries to get you to Starbucks, demand not Starbucks. Well, cool. Any other parting words of wisdom, Nicky Nick?
Not really. Honestly, we kind of exhausted a lot of the subject.
All right.
Thank you so much.
My man. Thank you. Welcome to the House of Vesta. If you love a good time and a good real estate story, come through and be part of the conversation.